Welcome to Learnit Training. The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello everybody, this is Faz Kareem with Learnit, and today I want to talk about the new Outlook. As you all know, Outlook has had quite a different change in this new update they've released, and the new Outlook doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, so it might make sense to start getting used to it and adopting it. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. So if you're brand new to Outlook, I recommend watching a video right before this, Outlook Beginner. But if you feel comfortable with the interface but want to learn more about the advanced tools, this is the video for you. We're going to be covering advanced email management using the Outlook tools. I want to make sure we feel comfortable when creating our emails, setting up delayed delivery, setting up options for sending out the messages, and when it comes time to actually organize your emails. Let's talk about how we can apply quick steps to put multiple actions into one command. Or, if you need to, set up a rule, an automation, so if an email comes in from a specific sender, or with a specific subject line, or a combination of both being a specific sender and a specific subject line, you can have it automatically be moved to a specific folder in your inbox. We'll talk about using our calendar and the details of scheduling a meeting. We'll spend time focusing on the customization options in the Outlook settings. And we'll even dabble in and see the integration with Outlook and Teams, which happens pretty heavily with our Outlook calendars. And we'll talk about some productivity tips and tricks with Outlook overall.
Looking to support our channel and get a great deal? Become a member today to unlock ad-free videos. That's right, your favorite courses without a single ad. Interested in a specific video? Purchase one of our ad-free courses individually. Looking for even more? Gain access to exams, certificates, and exclusive content at LearnitAnytime.com. More information can be found in the video description below.
All right, let's get started with some advanced email management. Now, the first thing that I want to do here is I want to craft up a new email using the new Outlook. There is a keyboard shortcut to craft up new emails. It's Control and the letter N, so long as you're on the mail icon. So if I hit Control N, a new email message will pop up in the reading pane. Now, when creating new emails, you have the ability to add the subject line, the to using mentions, just like we discussed in the beginner videos. However, you have an Options tab. And when you're crafting up emails and you take a look at the Options tab, it's going to open up a couple of options that you might want to consider before sending the email. One thing you have access to is the proofing command group, which is going to let you use the editor for any typos or grammar checks. I can check for accessibility, and I can even set up a scheduled send. The scheduled send will allow me to set up a specific date and time of when I want the message to be sent. I can choose a custom time from here or select from the times that I've already chosen from. You get to control what message fields are being shown, like if you want the BCC to be shown, or the CC, even the from. I also have the ability to request delivery receipt, a notification to the message that it was successfully sent. I can request a read receipt as well, but a user can also acknowledge to not send one, even though you've enabled this setting. I can also disable reactions if I need to. So if you're wondering why you can't react on a certain message, it might be because the user has disabled that setting. Under the tags command group, I have the ability to mark the message as high importance priority or low importance, and even encrypt the message. I can set permissions on the message, whether or not it can be forwarded, if it's only for Learnit confidential, a lot of different messaging options before actually getting to send the message, which will then end up showing up in someone's Outlook inbox potentially. I'll talk about tools that you can use for managing your inbox as well once the message arrives. Now, in order to better manage your emails that come into your inbox, Outlook has a set of tools we can use. Now, in the Home tab of Outlook, when these emails come in, of course, we have the ability to ignore the conversation. I also have the ability to report a conversation for phishing attempts. And I can even block the sender. I have the ability to delete messages directly from here, adding them to my deleted items. Or I can archive the messages, moving them to my archives folder, which is still searchable. Now, in line, when I'm hovering over these messages here, I can actually see upon hovering that I have the ability to mark the message as unread or read. I can create a flag for the message. The flag ends up showing up all of these flagged emails inside of Microsoft To Do. I can also use the filter to filter my inbox just for flagged emails. If I right-click the flag, I can actually set a due date for today, tomorrow, this week. And there's also this ability to pin the message to the top of the folder. This is my pin section now. I'm going to unpin this here. And if I need to, I also have the ability to delete this message directly from the message row, as opposed to going to the Home tab. Now, if I look at the Home tab here and I have a message selected, a lot of the options that I just shown you in line are also available inside of the tags command group. I can mark it as read or unread. I even have the ability to mark my emails with a specific category that I can create. And there's my flag and unflag option. I'll go ahead and unflag this email now. And if I needed to, the pin option is also there if I couldn't find it in line. A cool feature we have access to is called snooze, which will show the email at a later time. So a lot of the options that are found in line can also be found in the Home tab of my ribbon. Let's talk a little bit about categories. In Outlook, you have this ability to categorize your contacts, your emails, your meetings, your appointments. You can create your own categories. Or you can use the predetermined color categories that are created for you. When I go to the Home tab and I open up the Categorize dropdown, I have the ability to view the categories that I've already created and add new categories directly to here. I'll pick the color for my category here. I'll pick blue, reminds me of the Outlook interface. And I'll save this category here. And as you can see, this email here has the category assigned to it in the subject line now, and in the reading pane. Let me remove it for a second. If I go back to categorize, I can see I have access to that category inside of my categories now. Now keep in mind though, if you need to manage your categories and remove some, rename some, assign a keyboard shortcut to some, you can click on Manage Categories. This will pull up the settings for your categories. And if you need to, you have the ability to create new categories from here. And you can edit the names, the colors, delete them all together, or mark them as favorites. This will add them to my folders pane, the category itself. Let me go ahead and mark this one. There it is. I'm going to close out the Manage Categories area, because now that we have these categories that we've created and that we can assign, I want to start talking about more advanced tools that allow us to do multiple actions at once. There are times that I need to categorize my emails, and I need to move them to a specific folder once they're categorized. And maybe once they're moved to a folder, I also have to forward them to a specific contact. These three things happen quite often. Or I categorize an email, I move the email to a folder, I forward the email to a contact. So if you're constantly doing these three things when a specific type of email comes in, or multiple actions, you can actually go to the Home tab of Outlook, and you can assign something known as a quick step. So you can bundle up all those actions into one action known as a quick step. I'm going to open up this drop down here, and it looks like I already have 2 quick steps that I've demoed. Let me go to Manage Quick Steps here. And for right now, I'm going to delete these quick steps that I've added. And when I do that, I can see that the quick step window has cleared. Let me go back and create a quick step now. I'll do a new quick step. So the first action that I'm going to do is I'm going to categorize the message. And then I can select the category from my categories I've created. I'm going to use the Move To action. I'll select a folder. And the third action was to forward it to a specific contact. I can add a quick step description. I'll call it the Move, Categorize, and Forward. And let me hit save. That way I can save this quick step demo. I can see that the quick step shows up at the very top here. Let's test it. I'm going to test it on this Microsoft Power BI email. Let's go into folder A and make sure it's there. Excellent. And I can see I already have a draft crafted to Faz Kareem, just hasn't been sent yet. Nice. So not only do we have quick steps that we can use, but there's a full-on automation that we can set up. The full-on automation is known as a rule. Now, a rule is much different than a quick step. You don't need to click it to run. You're going to set up these conditions. If the email meets the conditions, the rule is going to run. If I create a rule, I can choose rules that always move messages from this sender to a select folder, but I can also open up more options here. So for all messages from Faz Kareem, I can add an action. I can move it to, or I can categorize it. I can add another action here, and I can move it to a specific folder. I can add another action here, and I can forward it to a specific user. So this is much different than the quick step. Quick step, I'm still going to need to run it myself. This will automatically run for all messages from Faz Kareem. I can save the rule here. But for right now, I'm going to turn off this rule, because I don't want this to actually run when I send my messages. Now keep in mind, if you have multiple rules, The rules starting at the top will first take precedence over the rules on the bottom, and that's why you can reorder your rules if you need to. You can also run the rule on your inbox to help clean up the messages in your inbox that are already there. So Outlook has quite a bit of features to help you manage your inbox. Whether that be the basic delete command group with ignore, report, and block. Whether that be creating an email and sending a scheduled delivery or a read receipt to acknowledge the fact that they've seen the message. Or automation, where you can create quick steps to put multiple actions into one. Or you can create a rule to run those actions automatically based off the criteria of the email. Pretty advanced email management tools, but I wouldn't expect anything less from an email client like Outlook that has been around for so many decades. Let's spend some time talking about the effective use of your Outlook calendar. Now, one thing I want to mention is if you need to access your calendar, you can always do so from the navigation menu. The calendar icon has a keyboard shortcut assigned to it. You can actually use the control key and the number 2 to activate your calendar. If you are one of the users that have multiple monitors, you have the ability to right-click your calendar and open that calendar in a separate window. A lot of times with users that have multiple monitors, they prefer this. This allows me to open up my Outlook calendar in a separate window while ensuring the application still behind it. This allows me to browse the different areas of Outlook while still having my calendar open on a different screen. I'm going to close this though. So you can always just right click and pop that out into a separate window. Something that's really cool about the calendar is you can actually create appointments and meetings in line by selecting a specific time scale in the calendar. As you can see, I just selected a specific time scale and it pulls up an inline pop-up to create a meeting or an appointment. I have the ability to choose what calendar I want to create this appointment to. So if I add additional calendars, I'm going to add another calendar here. I'm going to create a blank calendar. And I'll call this one my example calendar. I'll mark it as blue to match the Outlook interface. And here, I'll put this little notebook with a pencil, this exam icon, and I'll save it under my calendars. Yeah, I'll leave it under my calendars and hit save. Cool, so I've added in another example calendar. So if I select the time slot here, you see how it opens up the same options. This just lets me switch from calendar to calendar. The option to save it, discard it, or even make this entire window larger is available to me. A demo of creating an appointment. I can invite required attendees. This makes it into a meeting here. And if I have 15 or less individuals invited to the meeting, it even pulls up the scheduling assistant. How cool is that? I can change the preferences like the duration, whether or not I want the earliest timings or if I want it for this week or next week for the suggested times. I also have the ability to change the time of the meeting and make it an all-day meeting and select a room or location and add a description from here. Now keep in mind, under more options, when I give that a click, it pulls up the big event window. From here, I get to choose to change the times. I can choose the options for the meeting and my response options as well. I can choose when this is going to remind me for the meeting. I have it set for 30 minutes before. I can categorize my meetings, as well as make it a private appointment. I've enabled these options to show up when scheduling meetings. I can send this meeting to OneNote. I have the ability to add a Zoom meeting because I have the Zoom plugin. I can put in Viva Insights and even access my templates, which is an add-in that I have available. I can view the scheduling assistant directly from here. I can add additional attendees if I need to. And of course, me sending this email on its way here, or this appointment on its way, let me put a agenda here. Can also be added at the very bottom. Oh, it's saying the event has passed. That makes sense to me. Let's put it at a time that hasn't passed. There we go. And of course, if you select this appointment here, I have the ability to move it. You see, if I just drag and move it, I can edit the event time. And then I can send an update. So that's really cool. I can also increase the duration of the meeting here. This sends an update. And if I click on this here, I have the ability to edit the message directly, the details of the meeting directly in line, or I can delete the appointment from here. So I can also do the same things for my calendar from the Home tab. I can open up the new events and create an event. And this pulls up the large event dialog window. This time we get the full title window. I get to add my optional or acquired attendees just like I did previously. So there's more than one way to craft up your appointments. And there's no really right way. It's just the way that you feel comfortable getting it done. So if you are one of the users that like writing inline appointments and meetings and changing times, a lot of the features are built in to do so with the Outlook. You can also have more than one calendar be displayed on your screen at the same time. I'm going to show the custom private calendar as well. So now I have two different calendars being shared. At the current moment, when you have more than one calendar selected, it's showing it right now in something known as split view. If I turn that off, split view, I no longer see two calendars. It looks like. I'm going to go back to split view. And I'll add another meeting to this calendar here. And let me turn off split view again. Split view actually shows the calendars on separate sides. But when you turn them off, they overlay each other. So now I get to see both calendars on one calendar. But if I need to, I have the ability to hover over the calendars that I create. And I have the choice to change the color. I can change the color here to make it stand out. I also have the choice of changing the charm as well for my calendars, which will pop up on the meetings and the invites and the appointments. So, split view allows you to see your calendars in separate sides. In older versions of Outlook, you used to have an icon with an arrow here that you would click that would overlay them on top of each other. Now it's just a matter of turning split view on and off. I can have multiple calendars being displayed here. Multiple calendars being displayed here in split view. And I can overlay them all together as well. Now, if I need to, I have the ability to go to my specific calendar and I can share it. I can also do that directly from the top in the Home tab under Share. And in my organization, we have it all set to share our calendars with our organization members. And we can see most of our details. That way we know what we're busy with. So if you need to share a calendar that you've created, you can enter the email addresses of users you need to share the calendar with and how far of the permission levels you want to share. If they can view it when you're busy. They can only view the titles and locations. They can view all details and even can edit. So really cool. Just be sure to make sure you're sharing the correct calendar with the correct users with the correct permissions. And you can always view those permissions by hovering over the calendars and viewing the sharing and permission sections. If you need to, there's also a print function for the calendar. The print function of the calendar allows you to print different calendars if you need to, and different views of the calendar if you need to. And whether or not you want to leave room for a mini month, the detailed agendas, looks at even the invitations show up, and even a time range for the calendar if you're trying to do a weekly schedule, quarterly schedule, or monthly schedule printed out. Let's head over to the View tab now that we've gone a tour of some of our advanced calendar tools. And now that we've seen some of these advanced calendar tools, I want to hop into the calendar settings. Under the calendar settings here, for the first section called View, you can control what the first day of the week is going to be shown as when you create a calendar, as well as adjusting the default timescales and whether or not you want to display the week numbers for the week of the year. You can have multiple time zones added in, but they won't be displayed if you're on the month view. You can control how events are handled. Even if you are a Zoom user, you can have it set up Zoom meetings for all online meetings. I can add additional weather locations on the calendar's corner there. And I can control my shared calendars. There is the ability to get a calendar and create a link to publish the calendar. And you can share this link with others to subscribe to your calendar. Very powerful feature if you needed to share your link with others outside the organization. There's also the ability to use Microsoft Bookings to set up a bookings page, where people inside and outside your organization can see your availability that's synced to your calendar in real time. You simply just have to create a bookings page, and then you add that booking link to your signature. Very powerful tool that Microsoft has decided to incorporate entirely for free with their Microsoft 365 subscriptions. And at the very bottom here, you can control the work hours and locations for the specific days of the week on your calendar. Outlook as an app is a very customizable app. So whenever you look around at other people's Outlook, it might not necessarily look the same as yours. The Outlook desktop app, when in the mailbox, has a View tab. And in the View tab of the mailbox, you have different options for controlling the layout. In fact, there's an entire command group called Layout that you can access. Now you have to be on the mailbox in order to see the view settings for the mailbox. Otherwise, you'll see it for your calendar or your contacts. If you want to adjust the ribbon settings, we mentioned in part 1 that there's something known as the simplified ribbon. You can adjust that setting from here, or you can do it from this drop down here. You can also control where the reading pane will be displayed. My reading pane is here, but if I go over to the reading pane, I can show it at the bottom as well. I can also turn it off altogether. I can hide it. Same with my folder pane. The folder pane I can show or hide as well. And if I need to, I can control the density of the app. Let me switch it over to cozy versus compact. Even tighter this time. I'm going to make it back to roomy since I have a large screen. In the View tab, I also get access to the Immersive Reader.
Video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point. When you click Online Video, you can paste in the embed code for the video you want to add. Pause Kareem. Lead Desktop Instructor.
I can control the voice settings of how fast it talks and the voice selection.
510-244-9850. Pause.Kareem@learnit.com. LinkedIn.com//BossPay. Book time on my calendar. HTTPS.
Great feature, Immersive Reader there. So these are basic customization settings that we have. Similar to the message preview and the conversations for the inbox itself. I want to talk about some other settings that you may want to consider when customizing Outlook. Let's head over to the general settings here. Under General, you have Language and Time. I have the ability to choose my language, the date format, and my time formats. And I can also control the overall appearance of the app. There is a dark app mode that you can use for Outlook. There's also themes that you can apply. Now, these themes drastically adjust the look and the feel of your Outlook. But aren't required and don't really change much of the functionality of Outlook besides the cosmetic appearance. Using system settings will simply adjust the settings of your Outlook's appearance based off your Windows settings that you have for your personalization settings on the desktop. If you are going to change any of these settings, just be sure to save them before exiting the page. You also have notifications you can control. Right now, I've enabled it to get notifications in Outlook. I also have an option to send notifications when Outlook is even closed. At the current moment, I have it notifying me about new mail. It pulls up on the side here. And it even plays a sound. I also have it alert me when reactions happen. I have notifications for my calendar, like event reminders. I choose to play the sound. Some of us might not have the ability to do so if we're in a cubicle of some sort. So it's nice to know that these settings can be disabled or turned off, or you can control where these notifications pop up if you're used to using it on the top of the screen versus the bottom of the screen. Just be sure to save these settings if you do change any of them. I have accessibility settings. I can choose what version of the shortcuts I want to use. If I use Outlook for Windows shortcuts, Outlook for web shortcuts versus turning off keyboard shortcuts. Under privacy and data here, I can delete my search history. I can download my data. And then I have search settings as well. By default, it's going to search all folders. I can switch it to a current folder. And by default, it's going to include deleted items. And when I choose to start up Outlook, it's always going to ask me if I want to open up my previous items from when I last closed it. There's also individual settings for your mailbox that you can go through. A lot of these we've already covered. Whether or not you want to create rules, quick steps, how forwarding works, message handling. And even for our calendar, we've covered these as well. Now, this new version of Outlook is somewhat light in terms of settings compared to the older versions, but they are constantly adding in new settings and listening to the users for what settings they want to add in quicker than others. So if you are looking for a specific setting and you don't seem to find it here, stay tuned for it. It should be coming soon. And you can always use the old version of Outlook until that feature comes out, if it's a must-have. I don't have a to-do bar in Outlook, but I do have the ability to open up the My Day section, which acts as my to-do bar, which opens up Microsoft To Do natively, and opens up my calendar natively in Outlook, where I can add new events to it if I needed to. So a lot of customization with Outlook, a lot of great tips that you can read upon if you click on the little light bulb as well. Definitely consider customizing your Outlook to your own liking and to your own personal preference. Everyone has a different preference of what works best for them and what rules and what settings work best for them in Outlook. It takes a while to figure that out for yourself, but once you do, just know that these settings can all be adjusted for the desktop app. A really cool aspect of Microsoft Outlook is the ability to create Outlook groups, which ended up becoming an evolution of Microsoft Teams groups, and now we use Teams quite heavily. But Outlook groups still have their place. And you can create groups by going over to the groups area here. A group is a way that you can create an inbox, a calendar that's shared with a select member list. You can also view your Microsoft Teams groups that were created through Microsoft Teams from here and access any of the files that they have. I'm going to create a new Outlook group. Great if you're working on a project, shared goal. It's going to give this entire group an area for conversations, shared files, scheduling events. It's creating an Outlook email address for the group. I can add a group description. And when I hit create here, this is going to create the group, allowing me to add the members to the group. But right now, I'm not going to add any members. And here's my Outlook demo group. This demo group actually gets a couple of things. We get a shared inbox that I can add members to. I have different settings for this inbox that I can control. I can add members to this inbox since I'm the owner of it. This group has access to a shared notebook. This group has access to Planner. This group has access to a SharePoint site as well. So as you can see here, this Outlook group ends up creating an entire SharePoint site associated to the group. Now what you can do with the group is you can connect it to a Microsoft team. I can go to the SharePoint site from the group and I can connect the SharePoint site to a Microsoft team. This will give me all the functionality that Microsoft Teams has, where I can have conversations, work on the files, mention users, pin posts. This is going to make it easier for me to chat with the colleagues in the groups, coordinate online meetings, and work on shared content together. I'm going to choose the documents from the site to be created in the team. I'm going to add this to the team. And this creates a team that's not only associated to the site, but associated to the Outlook group. I can actually go to the Microsoft team it created by clicking on the icon to go to the team. As you can see, I have a new team called Outlook Group Demo that's associated to this Outlook group, and it's associated to this site. These are all connected. They're different doors to the same room. I'm going to go back to my mailbox here. Because with my emails, I also get this ability to get the email itself from the ellipses, and I can share it to Microsoft Teams. When I share this to Teams, I can choose what team, what group I want to share this to. I'll send it over to my practice sandbox for now. And I can actually share the email, including attachments if there were any, to the team. There it is. So if I need to, I also have the ability of getting this message in Teams and sharing it to Outlook. So if I have a post and I need to share it to Outlook, I can do that directly from Teams as well. It really doesn't matter where the conversation began. You created it in Outlook, you can send it to Teams. You created a post in Teams, you can share it to Outlook. These features were actually released in 2019. So they've been around for quite a while, but you don't need to add external members to a team just to continue the conversation. You can always just use the share to Outlook or share to Teams feature, or create a group and associate it to a team. A lot of different routes you can take with this feature, but definitely a very powerful feature to use with your team or group if you're working on a project that has a lot of communication. We just discovered Microsoft 365 groups, or Outlook groups more specifically, and how they work with Teams, SharePoint, and how Outlook messages can be sent to Teams, and how Teams messages can be sent to Outlook. Very powerful stuff. Outlook has done a very good job at integrating other apps into Outlook. So we've already talked about Microsoft To Do in the beginner video, but if your organization uses Viva, you can have that integrated in. If you want to create a bookings page, the bookings app gets integrated in directly to Outlook. And when you click on it, it prompts you to go to your bookings page that you can set up. Really cool stuff once it's enabled and set up. Here, let's see my booking page. I'm going to go to my booking page. So this is my booking page link. I can share it by copying a link and adding it to my signature. This allows people to schedule 30-minute office hours with me. In addition to the Bookings app being integrated in, you also get access to your OneDrive account. This opens up Microsoft OneDrive for you to browse and view your files. And then if you need to, you can also generate Excel spreadsheets, OneNote notebooks, PowerPoint presentations, and Word documents directly from here. This opens up the online versions of the tools, but you can save them directly to your OneDrive, which ends up showing up here as well. Ultimately, you can do a lot of your work directly from Outlook because you can access almost everything through it. Definitely takes a while to get used to, but will definitely streamline the amount of apps you may have open throughout the day and reduce the amount of context switching you're doing between apps if you start using the built-in apps within Outlook. All right. In Outlook Intermediate, we went over advanced email management, schedule send, quick steps, rules, categories. We learned about creating calendars, sharing calendars, overlaying calendars, adjusting calendar settings, scheduling meetings or appointments inline or through the ribbon, all of the various customization settings we have for Outlook, and the integration that Outlook has with Microsoft Teams, and all of the integrations with the various apps. I hope everyone learned a bunch with this new Outlook that we're going to be using throughout the year. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for watching. To earn certificates and watch our courses without ads, check out LearnitAnytime.com.